Okay, hello everybody. This is Sharonda, and this is my podcast as well as my YouTube channel, Spiritual Sense. And give me just a moment. Okay, so I am doing this live, or I'm about to. Okay, again, this is Sharonda, and this is my podcast as well as my YouTube channel, Spiritual Sense. And so in this channel, I go over topics in regards to the paranormal, occult, supernatural. So I speak on a variety of topics in regards to those themes. Today is Tuesday, which is September the 20th. And I also like to mention that this podcast is an open social discussion. It's not a debate in regards to those topics. Okay. So I also go over pagan belief systems and practices, Wiccan, witchcraft, Scientology, hoodoo, voodoo, to name a few. And if you have a comment, question, or suggestion, or a topic for a future show, you're more than welcome to comment below in the comment section. So I'm going to entitle this, the topic for today, Mark of the Beast Explained. And the reason why, because this is the third time I have recorded in regards to this topic. The last time I did a recording in regards to this topic was back in February. And as I was in my mind's eye over the course of the last couple of nights, many times I get waking out of my sleep and I get urged to speak on such things and such topics. And oftentimes, people, when they read the biblical text, and I also like to reiterate that this is not a religious nor biblical podcast nor YouTube channel, okay? It's not a biblical or religious podcast nor YouTube channel. This is me giving my own hypothesis or analogy of certain things in terms of biblical writings or scribes or theological, ideations. Okay. So, sign of the Antichrist. Okay. So we will, the mark of the beast, the mark of the beast is a sign of the Antichrist and is in Revelation 13, chapter 13, 15 through 18. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. Okay, number one, the mark of the beast is a state of mind, is what that is. There are many things that encompasses, is what I'm saying, the mark of the beast. Is not no one definitively thing. Okay. Again, it's not one specific definitively thing. I think, if you go back, and I'm going to do an update on that spirit related job fields. If you go back and if you look at my recordings, and I think I've recorded two, maybe three times. I may for the third time update that recording episode. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied because I'm thinking faster than when I'm speaking, and it's hard to come out. That's what that is. But certain people gravitate to certain fields or jobs based on the spirit of the person. And so once you have gained that insight and God has put you in that notion to where you understand how life correlates with one another, then you will know. The mark of the beast, you could be in a field or a job or career path that leads up to the mark of the quote unquote beast, I would say. So it's a conglomerate of things. Um, I just so happen to work in healthcare. I have a background in healthcare, and I have transitioned towards another field, but it's essentially one and the same. Again, I like to state that this podcast, as well as this YouTube channel, is for entertainment purposes. Again, this podcast as well as this YouTube channel is for entertainment purposes, okay? So basically the mark of the beast, I honestly feel as though, let me pull out as defined by the Bible. So I am going to read, and this, a couple of paragraphs here that gives a few verses in regards to the mark of the beast. And once I get through those verses, then I'm going to give you what the revelation has come to me. It's not no one specific thing, it's a conglomerate of several things. So it says, mark of the beast, Revelation 16:2 and 19:20 cite the mark of the beast as a sign that identifies those who worship the beast of the seas. Revelation 13:1. This beast is usually identified as the Antichrist. This mark is first mentioned in 13:16 through 17, where it imposed on humanity by the beast out of the earth. 13:11. The second beast is the false prophet, 19:20, who forces us to worship of Antichrist and brands those who do so with the mark. This mark is equivalent to the beast's name or number, 13:17 as well as 14:11. This enigmatic number is announced in 13:18 as 666. The term mark has no special biblical usage apart from its association with the beast. The Greek term charagma or kavragma was most commonly used for imprints on documents or coins. Charagma is well attested to have been an imperial symbol of the Roman Empire used on official documents during the first and second centuries. This term does not occur in the Septuagint, and its use in the church fathers is insignificant. The only other reference to charagma is in the New Testament, besides those in Revelations, is Acts 17:29, where it stands for an image formed by art. A more common term for mark or brand is stigma, in its noun and verb forms. Branding was practiced in the ancient world, even in relation to religious concerns. Religious tattooing was observed in incident which Jews was branded by Ptolemy Philopator in 217 BC with the Greek religious Dionysian ivy leaf symbol. The mark on Cain in Genesis 4:15 is rendered by Simeon in the Septuagint. I'm sorry, Septuagint. I guess that's how you would pronounce that, the term for sign. So Paul's reference to his bearing in his body the marks of Jesus, Galatians 6:17, utilizes the stigma, not charagma. The contextual significance of marking those who worship the beast may be accounted by noting how this motif answers the seal on the foreheads of those who worship the Lamb. Revelation 7:3 and 14:11. This contrast is particularly noted in 24, where those who are martyred for the Lamb are resurrected to reign with Christ. The mark and seal will image the two earthly groups who dominate the narrative. The interpretive difficulty in understanding the mark of the beast resides in identifying what response John expected by his challenge in Revelation 13:18 to calculate the number of the beast. The process of working from a number to a name was an ancient process called gematria. I guess that's how you pronounce that in Hebrew, and also Sophia in Greek. Many ancient languages utilized the letters of the alphabets for their numerical systems. The letter and number ratio was known by all. This existing process was used in enigmatic statements to conceal the identity of the person under consideration. And oft quoted graffitio from Pompeii about AD 79 reads, I love her whose number is 545. Only those who knew the name or the pool of the candidates could work outside of the riddle. The acrobatic lytic Sibylline oracles use 888, the numerical equivalent of Lucius or Lucius, as an indirect reference to Jesus as the incarnate God. Therefore, John could have expected his audience to solve the riddle, but only if there was a shared pool of understanding concerning the enigmatic nature of the reference. So the history of interpretation concerning the correlation of a person with the number 666 has only resulted in endless speculation. One of the most prominent candidates have been the first century Roman Emperor Nero, a rare rendering of his name into Neron Caesar, transliterated into Hebrew as NRWN KSR, renders the number 666. This rare form of Nero's name was actually found in an Aramaic document from Qumran. It also is noteworthy that a variant reading in Greek New Testament manuscript is exists that cites the number as 616 rather than 666. The transliteration of the normal Nero Caesar into the Hebrew NRWQSR renders the number of 616. There was also a belief in a revived Nero as the Antichrist from the first century to the time of Augustine, who cites the ideal in the city of God. So Irenaeus, however, wrote within a century of the Apostle John and did not mention Nero. He proposed a number of options, including Latinos, meaning a Latin, and thus a Roman ruler, and Titan, a Roman name with which he was enamored. So a few modern scholars have noted that numbers can also argue for a connection with Babylon and Nimrod. The list is expanded with the creative use of numbers during times of modern crisis. It is possible that John merely intended the number to be symbolic of what the beast and his followers represent, humankind in their ultimate rebellion against God, his Lamb. The followers of the Lamb, John explains in 13:18 that the number 666 is the number of man. The number 7 is well established as a number of completeness or perfection. The number 6 being less than 7 may symbolize humankind, which falls short of perfection. Irenaeus notes that the image set up by, I guess, Nebuchadnezzar, I guess that's how you pronounce that name, was 60 cubits high by 6 cubits wide. The number 666 could well personify the imperfection of man, even implying in the triple number the unholy trinity of the dragon, antichrist, and false prophet. The identity of those who follow the Lamb or the beast is self-evident to the observer, whether it is the first century or the future. The vision calls John and his audience to discern the spirit of sinful humanity that accompanies the Antichrist rather than decode his identity. And this is the article as cited on this particular website. So it goes over a lot of verses in terms of the Antichrist and the mark of the beast and this, that, and the other, and all this other stuff. So what do you think the Antichrist is? What do you think the mark of the beast is? Well, I'm going to give you an account based on the fact of me having a healthcare background. I think the mark of the beast is going to be in all different spirit-related fields. You're going to have the mark of the beast, and basically what that is I I like to state that depopulation I feel is real. I do, and I think the mark of the beast is to give insight, clarity to those who may not be spiritually in tune, those who have been shielded from a spiritual capability and understanding, those who see things as face value, who lack understanding, true understanding. And as such, they will use tattoos, they will use symbolism, they will use things as to the sort to give insight to those who think contrary to. Like, say, for instance, if someone is conditioned to think that the wrong or see wrong in everything someone does when it doesn't, when it doesn't do. In other words, if I'm a person that is controlling, and if I'm the type of person who, if I feel as though you only are good enough long as you are doing for me or doing what I say to do. Catch my drill. So when a person feels as though you're contrary to what they deem as right or proper or normal, the first thing they're going to want to do is react. Because you don't do what I say is deemed to be right or to be kosher. So certain individuals have to be tagged and marked to where people will know this doesn't apply to this person. Yeah, I understand what you're getting at. I understand the circumstances. I understand how it appears, but that doesn't mean that this person is out to do you harm or do you wrong. This is just his own person's personal way of being. So a person has to be tagged to let those who don't know, who really truly don't have a God within them, to understand and get that inclination. I understand that. Some people don't have empathy. It's not in them. It's the point. And so the mark of the beast is basically when a person has been deemed to receive discernment by way of a device, by way of healthcare, to know the difference. This person doesn't mean that. That is not that type of person. This person is not over here for that. And when it's not apparent to certain individuals, this is them giving you discernment about this person. So that's why it takes being consistent to how you truly are. If you're for a cause or you're against a cause. It may appear as though this person is a romancer or womanizer or even a what you call it, a man eater or whatever the case may be, or a whore or whatever. That's the way it appears to be. And so in turn, when individuals that just react and don't think and there's no God in them, I think a lot of times these people are marred or branded in such a manner to where they would gain that insight. I kid you not. You have some individuals, spirits in this existence who lacks empathy. It's not in them. Plain and simple. The only thing you are good for is what you can do for them. Plain and simple. And so basically, that's what the mark of the beast is when they have been adorned or when they have gotten in such a matter. And this is why you have UFOs, where you have the aliens and then they have the devices that are pulled in. So this is God's way of giving you discernment when he tells you or show you things in a covert manner. That's what the mark of the beast is. You know, I was speaking to someone the other day, and I was telling them in reference to, you know, the many of vehicles that I have had. and just simply driving down the street, and how I would get an inclination about something or a particular vehicle. And this is how I know something is up with this situation. So it's to give discernment to those who may not be, who doesn't think in such a matter. Like I will make it apparent to you something ain't right with this cup of tea, so to speak. You will know what you know when you know it and how you know it. They will be tagged, they will be branded as such as an animal is branded, such as an animal is branded. When they have the branding of the animal, it works the same way in terms of the healthcare system by way of the criminal justice department, I presume. You have the mark of the beast does not only entail healthcare field, all many types of field. It's not just specific to the one specific thing. It's to give you insight and clarity to something that is beyond what is considered popular. It can work in a favorable means as well as an unfavorable means. I mean, I've mentioned before, as young as in my 20s, that it's such as I'll give you one example. God forbid, and this is not to be facetious or lack of empathy. I'm very empathetic as to what occurred with the Tuskegee Airmen. I'm very empathetic in regards to that whole story and what occurred with those individuals. So in essence, me being where I am, all of the things that happened in my life experience led up to where I am now and the belief systems that I have acquired now. The mark of the beast is a tagging of individuals as such, and to keep account as to where you're going and not going, and to keep track of what you are doing. And that's why you have to be very conscientious who you allow in your space and who you befriend and who you call as a love interest, because they would get you tagged as well and put it on minute shit that ain't got nothing to do with it to throw you off. So oftentimes, when people have done some things and favor has fallen upon them as such, and it may appear as though that I'm this, I'm that, and they will have you branded and tagged, kind of like a scarlet letter, so to speak. But it will be done by way of the healthcare system on the inside. So you would gain understanding as to what aliens are and what it means when they have been implanted with certain metal devices and things of that sort, and you will begin to relate that to the medical devices that occur within this time in existence, and they are tracking devices as such. The mark of the beast don't only entails one thing. It's a conglomerate of things. It's a number of things, a variety of things that the mark of the beast entails. Signs of the Antichrist. The sign of the Antichrist, Christ being what? Put on the front street by way of symbolism, by way of the cross. It means someone who is not in agreement with us, is what that is. If we believe in Christ and you believe in something else, you are considered the Antichrist, is what that means. You're not for our cause. You're not going to do what we want to done. You're not going to bar and do as we say do. You got to get you out of here. You're too much of a threat. That's what this Antichrist means. The sign of the Antichrist. So you're going to believe a lot of Bible totals are very, has dealt with their own psychic attack by way of the mind. If you go back and you take a look and take note of my podcast episode as well as YouTube presentation about psychic attack, battle for the mind versus body and soul, and listen to how I break it down in regards to the three, because it is real. The battle is for the mind, body, but ultimately for the soul. And it's based on what you believe, what you allow to be your reality. We are all in a spiritual warfare. We all in the battles of the mind to get you to believe everything that presents to you. This is the enemy's biggest tool and trick to deceive you and to control you. Walking miracles do exist. Hear it and understand it. You got some in healthcare that is favorable. You got some that's unfavorable. It's not just healthcare. I'm just specifically speaking about healthcare because that's what I have a background in. It could be entertainment industry, the music industry. It could be the Department of Corrections. It could be the justice system. I mean, you have the mark of the beast, the Antichrist, that happens in all sense of the matter. It's to get you to critical think as a person thinks, the heart of a person, how this person truly feels in any given situation, how a person will react to a certain given situation. And critical illness piece or tool, and the heart will be unveiled and unleashed as such. The mark of the beast can come by way of the car industry and your cars, and as I mentioned, getting signs and or as such by way of your car when something is not right, and you got to be conscientious about the location and area that you're in and who you are by or around or surrounded by. So it's to bring discernment for those who have been shielded. Because oftentimes, when people get in love, particularly, and I'm not picking on people who are in love, because you can honestly be in love with somebody and they're right for you. So I'm not anti-love, I'm not anti-relationship, but I'm speaking to those who have been blindsided by the illusion of love, is what I'm getting at. This is God giving you discernment when something is not right, when the situation is not kosher. The mark of the beast can come by way of your vehicle, lights going off, flickering and such, when you get around something that ain't of you and for you. So that's basically giving you a synopsis of marked by the beast, mark of the beast. And I think I like that term better. I think I'm going to put it as such, marked by the beast, because initially when I spoke on this topic, I said marked by the beast, but everybody referred to it as mark of the beast. But we're going to say mark by the beast / of the beast. Mark of the beast, mark by the beast. So what is Christ? Christ happens in every generation. And said Christ is what was put on forefront. Antichrist is when you are not, or you are adversary to what is considered popular. That's what that means in terms of Christ. Like when someone is charismatic, as such, Christ can be in every given situation. It could be a Christ within a home or a group or a church or whomever. It's God giving you inclination that this person does not agree what has been put up. This is not in agreement what is deemed to be put up. That's simply what it means in a nutshell. A lot of times people sensationalize and they make more out of things than what it is. And I think being a spiritualist, our job is to bring clarity and understanding to a given situation. That's what being an intuitive spiritualist is. Is to give clarity and understanding to a situation. When you are able to see things on a higher scale, many people get jealous, they get mad, and they'll try to cause problems to you because you don't want to be stupid. And I'm not saying that people who choose not to know certain things are stupid. I'm not saying that, because I can understand why you will be shielded to protect you, because you are dealing with a lot of jealousy is what I'm getting at. So I'm not saying that you are stupid. I understand that. I just heard a group say, we know. Okay. So I am going to conclude this episode of Spiritual Sense, speaking about the topic for today, which is mark of the beast, mark of and by the beast. Okay? Mark of and by the beast explained. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, or a topic for a future show that you would like me to present on my podcast, as well as YouTube channel, you're more than welcome to comment below. Until then, you have a safe and wonderful day. Good day.